If you're talking to a regular agency that doesn't work in the tree care industry, they would tell you that SEO is going to be super important, and they would be absolutely right. But in the tree care industry, we have this thing called local service ads.
You're not just climbing trees, you're climbing destiny. Yeah!
Welcome back to the Branching Out Podcast with your host, Justin Rademacher. On this podcast, we help tree businesses grow. And so we talk about a lot of different things. I'm going to ask you to forgive me. I'm not actually in the podcast studio, not currently in the podcast studio today. I'm actually at the office. So ignore that it's grungy and not as beautiful as you would normally expect it to be. But I wanted to talk about something that couldn't really wait because it keeps coming up, especially because we're in December right now. And it comes up on a lot of the different conversations that I'm having with tree service business owners. And so I just wanted to make a quick episode to address it and really talk about the thing that most business owners, not most, I shouldn't say that, it's not fair, but the thing that many tree service business owners are getting wrong. And it's this idea that there is some magical marketing channel that we're going to be able to find, right? Like Facebook ads, inevitably people will ask me like, well, what channels do you use? And the answer is we use several, right? Because they all have a place in an overall cohesive marketing strategy. And so, people will say things like, well, SMS is the way to go, or Angie's, or like lead providers, or direct mail, or like, we're just always looking for the easier, softer way. We're always looking for the one thing that will work. And the best approach for a sustainable business is to have a diversified marketing strategy. And I can't stress that enough. Does direct mail work? Absolutely. Does SMS campaigns and email campaigns work? Absolutely. Does SEO work? Absolutely. Does PPC and LSA and meta ads, Facebook ads, all those things work? I can't tell you how many conversations I've had with business owners where they're like, well, Facebook ads are bullshit leads, right? They're low quality, they don't work. If that was the case, then why would Nike spend billions of dollars on Facebook if all it gave you is bad leads? It just means that we're not good enough at running the ads on Facebook to get the high quality leads that we want to. In this episode, I wanted to break down the common misconceptions specifically around Google ads and the different places that they work. Local service ads, for example. If there was a magical marketing channel for Google, it would be local service ads. And the reason is that it's the very first thing that you pull up. Now, if you're talking to a regular agency that doesn't work in the tree care industry, they would tell you that SEO is going to be super important. And they would be absolutely right. But in the tree care industry, we have this thing called local service ads. It's also in plumbing and HVAC and other niches as well. But that takes priority over SEO because Google figured out that they can start charging people and compete with Angie's in their own platform. So why would they not put their own advertisement at the very top of the page? For tree service companies, it's a great deal. The cost per lead is awesome. The quality of the lead overall is really good. And they actually refund you if you get a bad lead or somebody looking for a job, things like that. And their AI is really good at automatically crediting you. So from a cost perspective, it's one of the best investments that you can make is local service ads. The problem is that it's also very easy to set up. And so what that means is that it's becoming more and more congested. There are a lot of tree care companies on there. And so what ends up happening inevitably is you might miss a call on accident. You might miss 2 calls on accident. And then Google says, well, I can send this lead to these companies instead. So they start showing your competitors above you. So while LSA is a great quality lead, it's not scalable because we truly are at the mercy of Google with how many times they're going to show your ad. I can tell Google that I want to spend $10 million on local service ads, but unless Google prioritizes my campaign, I won't get to the top. So if all of my eggs were in the local service ads basket, that would be a huge liability for my business and I would have a very dramatic impact seasonally, right? So I wouldn't be able to pivot or marketing dollars to any other channel. That kind of brings us into Google pay-per-click. So if you can imagine at the very top of the page, if you typed in the word, you can do this at home. If you type into the words in your phone, tree removal near me, the very first thing you're going to see is going to have like a picture of the business and it's going to say, Justin's Tree Service, and it's going to have the reviews and the ratings and all that. That's local service ads. Right below that is another sponsored placement that's pay per click. So you click on it and it's going to take you to the landing page or the website of the company that is running the Google ads. Google ads pay per click is scalable because I can spend an exorbitant amount of money and get a ton of impressions and be at the top of the page in the different cities and counties that I want to show up in almost as much as I want based on how much I'm willing to spend. Totally scalable. Now, the issue there is that it's a lot to manage because you have to be constantly be reevaluating your keywords, making sure that bad quality keywords aren't making their way into your campaign. You're removing negative keywords. You have to make sure that your ad group is structured properly. Your copy, so like what your ad actually says, is super important to make sure that you're getting good click through rates. And then on your landing page in itself, your copy, your words need to be very, very good to get people to actually pick up the phone and call you and or leave you a form submission to actually capture them as a lead. Because even though I might be able to spend $10,000 to get my business to show up in front of everybody, if my website isn't converting them, then I'm just wasting that money, right? So the cost per lead on pay per click can vary dramatically based on your area, based on how good you are at writing copy, writing ad copy, and how good you are at having your landing page convert them into a phone call. All of those factors are what's going to determine your cost per lead. Quality essentially is the same. We're talking to the same people. They're going to Google. They just happen to scroll down one step. So it's not like some magical, like LSA is magically for some reason better than PPC. PPC is harder to set up. Undoubtedly, it's harder to set up. It's more work to manage, but it is scalable. And your competitors, less of them are going to be doing that. So because we naturally want to go for the easier, softer way. So running those two in conjunction will really help you to dominate the top of Google for tree care companies. Now, below that, even below that, you get to the map pack, which is what you would consider to be SEO, right? That's your search engine optimization. And while, yes, that's still important, notice that the whole first page of Google at this point for tree care companies specifically is ads. So if you're not running ads and you're just relying on organic, you're going to kind of be at the mercy of how many ads are being run and are people actually scrolling down. 42% of the first click last year went to local service ads. That's almost half. So if you're investing a ton of money into SEO and that's your only channel, you're fighting over 22% of the pie. And that just doesn't make any mathematical sense to me. So LSAs are the best as far as the quality. They're also the fastest because you're not having to set anything up. You literally just throw your Google business profile up there. I think you have to have 5 reviews minimum in order to qualify. And you'll also have to go through a background check process, but you can have that done in a matter of 2 weeks. By the time it gets back from Pinkerton, who's the company that Google uses to actually manage the background checks, by the time that comes back, it might be 2 weeks and you can be live on local service ads. When your account launches on local service ads, and I cannot make this any more clear, when your account launches, you have to answer every single phone call. If you miss phone calls, LSA is not going to be a great channel for you. Now, there's no fee to do it, to sign up. So it's not like you're going to lose anything, but it's not going to function and perform the way that you want it to perform if Google can't rely on you to answer the phone. So you've got to get phone calls and you have to get reviews coming in. It doesn't matter if you only have 7 reviews and your competitor has 300 and you've given up because it's too much. On local service ads, they're looking at review velocity. So how frequently are you getting reviews? You can overtake those guys that have 300-400 reviews by just simply getting more per week than they do, right? So getting reviews regularly as well as answering the phone, those are your 2 biggest drivers to make your local service ads account successful. LSAs are great. You can select the different services that you want to show up for, like removal, pruning. You might not want to show up for stump grinding if you have to sub that out. You might not want to show up for cabling and bracing if you don't do a whole lot of that, or you're not an arborist, you're just a tree care company. So be mindful of that. LSA prices are not fixed. Everything here is fluctuating with the market. So as supply and demand, as we get into the colder months, right? Like we're here now, LSA prices are up, lead costs are up because there's less demand. So that's going to impact your prices. On Google Ads, it is the most controllable channel. That's what I like about it. It's not the most efficient as far as cost. It's not the most cost efficient we're finding, but it is the most reliable on-demand channel. You get to decide the keywords. You get to decide the zip codes. You get to decide the budget. You decide when to scale up or scale down. It's all in your hands. So if you're listening to this you should be running all three. There is no magical channel, right? Local service ads works, pay-per-click works, and meta works. You just have to get good at each one of those channels. If you have any questions, shoot me a comment, shoot me a note, give me a call, send a carrier pigeon or a smoke signal. I'm here to help any way that I can. Until the next time, keep branching out.